All right, in this episode, we're talking about the Audio Technica AT3350 lavalier mic. All right, so what do we use this microphone for? Well, now what we use it for is a backup mic or a second mic. If we're doing two people interviews, we use this as a second mic for the second person, or we use it as a backup microphone in case our Sennheiser wireless mics fail us, which I'll talk about more in a second. So our setup is very simple. It's a 3.5mm jack. So we either plug this into the back of our Zoom H4n, or we plug this directly into the input of our cameras. All right, so what's great about this microphone and why did we buy this as our first microphone? Like I said in the Sennheiser video, if you want your videos to be professional or have that professional quality to them, one of the biggest things you should invest in is sound. I mean, the way that smartphones are going, the quality of the cameras are really, really good, and anybody can film a really nice looking video, but not a lot of people spend effort, time, or money on sound, and that's how you can really differentiate yourself. So buying a microphone like this can really help you out. And the first big thing I have to mention about this microphone is how cheap it is. This thing is $50 Canadian. And in fact, it's hard to get the original ATR3350. Now they sell it as the ATR3350i, which is basically the same microphone, but comes with an adapter that will adapt it to work with your phone. Okay, so the iPhone, for example, has tip, ring, sleeve input, and whereas a regular microphone just has tip, ring, sleeve. So that adapter will make it work with your phone and actually even has a splitter for a headphone jack. So with a phone adapter, this thing just costs $50 Canadian. So really worthwhile investment, and the sound quality is very decent. So really, really awesome plus for this. So besides all that, another thing I'll mention is that the cord is very long, which is great. So it's not wireless, but you can definitely reach a very long distance. So you can definitely run it from your camera to your subject if you're doing simple interviews. Definitely great for that. And then the last thing I'll mention is that it is a wired microphone, which means you avoid interference. We actually showed up to a shoot where we didn't do a proper location survey, and it turns out our main microphones, which were the wireless Sennheiser G3s, were not working. They were getting no signal, and we could only attribute it to wireless interference. So we threw up our backup mic, and that saved the day. So the fact that it's wired is a really, really good backup. All right, so what's not so great about this microphone? Well, first of all, it only has a 3.5mm jack, okay, and there's no XLR version. So why is this a problem? Well, when we do two-person interviews, we use the Zoom H4n, which has two XLR inputs, and we usually adapt this to a 1/4 inch. Now, when we adapt it to a 1/4 inch, the problem with that is that the Zoom doesn't have a proper level in the 1/4 inch input. It's some kind of instrument level or not a mic level, so it doesn't boost the signal high enough. So then what we have to do is we have to resort to plugging this into the stereo jack. We have to run 4-track multi-track recording to get that to work. So the fact that there's no XLR version of this is a little bit of a bummer. The second thing I don't love about this is there's no real battery indicator or no battery light on this. So you have a tiny little battery in here and you turn it on. Now what's really easy for us to do is to forget to turn it off, and we forget that it's draining through the battery and we have to use a lot of battery. So even if there's a little light indicator there to let us know that it's still on, would probably remind us to turn it off. Okay, that's it. There's not much to say about this microphone except of how cheap it is and that you have no excuse not to spend a little bit of money on good audio. So go out there. If you haven't bought any audio gear, use this as your first excuse. ATR3350 from Audio Technica. If you have any questions about the microphone or how we use it, leave them in the comments below. Other than that, subscribe to our channel because we're going to be covering all our gear in the future. All right, that's it for now, guys. We'll check you in the next one.
I'm chilling.